At the first Dunlop Series outing, the MotoGP champ had a tough initiation to four wheels.
Bang! Straight into the wall. Casey Stoner tastes concrete. He's out on debut. Cannot believe it.
And a star on the rise took the round honours.
And it's back-to-back for Mostert in Adelaide.
Now he's been drafted into the main game.
Fantastic result by Chaz Mostert here. He walks away at 3 races with a 15th, a 15th and a 10th.
And with the main title contender gone, the race for the series crown has been thrown wide open.
Hi everyone and welcome to Barbagallo Raceway in Perth. It's round 2 of the Dunlop Series for V8 Supercars. Since we saw you in the last round 9 weeks ago on the streets of Adelaide, we've lost our series leader. Chaz Mostert is here though. He's made the move to the V8 Supercars Championship with Dick Johnson Racing. In his place though comes 2-time Dunlop Series champion Steve Owen. We've also added Jack Perkins and Paul Morris to the mix with 30 cars here this weekend. It's the biggest field that we've had in the development category's history in Western Australia. Of course, Casey Stoner too makes his second appearance in the Dunlop Series as he continues to learn the art of four-wheel racing. But with Chaz Mostert no longer in the series, that's elevated a young Ipswich driver into the effective series lead and instant favouritism for the series.
He may have inherited the early championship lead, but Ash Walsh is still happy to have it. And after claiming his first Dunlop Series race win in Adelaide, he's hoping it's a sign of more to come.
I wasn't expecting to get a race win so early in the season. I thought we'd be somewhere near the front, but you know, any time you can get a win is a bonus. The level of competition is very tough this year. There's a lot of depth throughout the guys in the top 10. So to come out on top in the first one's a surprise, but then a good surprise.
The bumper grid will include some experienced drivers jumping back into the Dunlop Series to get race fit ahead of the main series endurance races later in the year.
Well, I'm not a very good spectator. I hate watching car racing, and I just really want to do some racing. I re-signed with Fujitsu Racing for the Enduros in January, and those Enduros are fast approaching, so I wanted to get in a competitive car, in a good team, and here I am in Perth driving an ex-AAA car. Can't wait.
A few years ago, you could turn up in a half-ride car and just drive straight to the front. These days, there's probably 10 or 12 good young guys that wouldn't look out of place in the main series. So it's a bit tougher than I remember, but we've got the right car and the right team behind us.
Second in the championship, Dale Wood has quickly come to grips with his new race car. An ex-FPR Falcon, driven by Will Davison to 2 race wins here last year.
I haven't found the trophies inside it, but it's done the job 12 months ago, so I might just pull it aside later on when all the boys leave me alone. I'll have a little word to it and Nick can give me a couple of tips. No, look, the car's great. We've had one session so far and the car certainly is where I expected it to be. Where I expect to be, I'm not really sure yet. I just hope that all I've got to do is get behind and do the right job behind the wheel.
Other drivers to hit form in Adelaide include Aaron Russell, who scored his best result, 6th, and Dunlop Series rookie Christian Lindbaum, who flew under the radar, putting in an impressive effort to collect a 5th and 4th in the weekend's races. He believes his best is yet to come.
We took a conservative approach for Clipsal. You can do a lot of damage over there, and we really just wanted to get through, get a solid result. It's probably a little bit more solid than we were expecting, and that gives us a good base for the rest of the year to push on.
Casey Stoner's switch from 2 wheels to 4 proved encouraging. Despite failing to finish his first race in Adelaide after a series of front right tyre lockups eventually sent him into the wall,
problem for Casey Stoner.
There you go. I bet he's got a right front flat.
Race 2 saw him finish 14th. He's put in extra miles in the car since then, but is facing a new learning curve for Perth.
I'd say that the hardest thing for me is understeer, trying to get rid of the understeer, get a little bit more turn in the car. I can handle the rear, what it's doing, but when we've got understeer, I'm really struggling to get it to get in and through the corners.
Also set to spice things up is the addition of experienced V8 Supercars veteran Paul Morris, who will compete for the remainder of the championship. Although he hasn't raced since Bathurst last year, he's no stranger to putting the elbows out if required in the race to the checkered flag. But on return to the series, it was the two-time series champ Steve Owen who took the Armour All Pole Award by just 0.08 of a second from series frontrunner Ash Walsh. To race one highlights now, and there was plenty of drama on the very first lap of the weekend.
Aaron McGill, he was off in qualifying, he's off in the race. He is. Walsh squeezes Owen. But then he got a deflated tyre from some contact. Contact, Casey Stoner.
There was nowhere Steve Owen could go. He had Daniel Gornish to stay on the inside. He just hasn't given Steve Owen enough room. So Steve, after having that, obviously the problem, definitely some, can't quite tell you. I think it's a tyre, definitely a tyre gone down on.
On the restart, Ash Walsh took off, but there would be one more safety car needed.
Andre Heimgartner is beached at turn one, the 17-year-old Kiwi.
Here we go, the replay here. Turn one, Heimgartner on the outside, and that is
Mcbride.
But after the second restart, no one could stop Walsh from taking his second race win.
Ash Walsh is certainly the form man. I tell you what, Chas Mostert might not be here, but Ash Walsh is. He picks up the opening race win of the weekend, and he will move into the series lead.
After the break, it's all the action from the reverse grid race.
So get ready.
Barbagallo Raceway ready to go in race 2, round 2 of the Dunlop series for V8 Supercars, the development category for the V8 Supercars Championship. 18 laps ahead. And Greg Murphy, the 4-time Bathurst winner, alongside me. Reverse top 10 for this one. So George Medicki, 10th yesterday. He goes to pole position. It's the easiest pole he's probably ever had.
Absolutely. It's not a bad thing ending up on pole after finishing that spot. We've seen guys, I think, give away positions to get that spot on the grid. So interesting to see what happens. We've got some fast guys starting at the back. Ash Walsh yesterday, great job to win that race comfortably. He's starting from 10th. We'll see how his run through the field goes.
And just as the main V8 Supercars Championship is about tyre management, this category is too. They have 2 sets of tyres for qualifying in the 3 races. So what you'll find is the drivers who've been moved to the front of the grid for this reverse top 10 are gone for their second set of tyres. They want to maximise this opportunity, starting on the front row at a tight track. But the race is only worth half points, so some of the others are saving up what they've got left for race 3 later today. So it's George Medicki v Jack Perkins, Andrew Jones and Paul Morris, Cam Waters and Daniel Gaunt will start from the 3rd row of the grid. Watch for Ash Walsh, race 1 winner. He starts from 10th. Wait for the light to go out. Let's get going. Medicki's got it going. Great start from Paul Morris as well. Christian Lindbom down the outside towards turn 1. 3 wide in some spots, but Perkins has made the best job of the second phase. He leads at turn 1.
Well, that was impressive because I didn't think he got away very good at all, but it looked like the second phase of that start, after that little bit of wheel spin, it really hooked up. George Medicki must have got a lot more wheel spin further into turn 1. And JP has managed to get the lead. This is where he wanted to be, to make the most of this, get a clear track and try and stretch the field out.
But Medicki is equal to the task. He's running around the outside down at turn 6, but he's out wide, and that'll give Andrew Jones a run. But Perkins is already under the gun on lap number 1. But remember, he's driving for Fujitsu Racing in the Enduros. Hasn't raced a V8 Supercar since Bathurst last year. They did a 10-lap shakedown in this car at Calder, but had Jonathan Webb's seating position, so he couldn't really see where he was even going. But Ash Walsh is back there in the pack. We jump on board Taz Douglas, Arvo Beer Falcon, but it's Perkins, Medicki, Jones, Morris, Gaunt, Christian Lindbom, then the car we ride with Taz Douglas. Walsh is behind. He's already made up 2 spots.
He's made up 2 spots. Cam Waters, the big loser on the start of the race. He was started from grid 5. He's back to 9, so he's had a shocking start to this. Dale Wood unable to yet make any progress forward. He's still he's back in 10th. Chris Pither just outside there in 11. There's Ash Walsh. Cam Waters coming through.
Aaron Russell there in the CEG Rentals car. They've had brake problems. They had to make an engine change on Friday night. Steve Owen's in there. He's slicing his way through. I think he's up to about 21st at the moment in this 29-car field for this race. Aaron McGill not taking the start. On board with Taz Douglas, the former main game driver who stepped back into the Dunlop Series this year in this car. It's run by Terry Wyhoon's team from Corranborough, which if you drive from Melbourne to Phillip Island, you'll pass the turnoff. That's where it is. And at the moment, he is right in the middle of the pack. But Perkins looks like he's just been able to sneak away. This is Cam Waters.
He's under a lot of pressure here, Aaron, from Chris Pither. He looks like he's struggling. It would be interesting to know what he's done with his tyres.
Well, yesterday he struggled, didn't he? He really went backwards, and we had 2 safety car periods, and even then with a couple of laps not at race speed, he still struggled. Yeah, he is. He's had a few drivers. There's a replay here out of Taz Douglas's car at the start. Off they go.
That's Waters in front of him, going backwards straight away.
And look on the left, Andrew Jones was down the grass.
Well, the track's not wide enough, so, you know, you've got to use something else.
He wasn't afraid to use it. And this was the run. Have a look at Medeki. All of the curb, 2 off the deck, bicycling it through.
Stunning shots there in the super slow-mo.
Perkins has not been able to sneak away. Medeki's closing in. He's just set the fastest lap of the race. He's the only guy in the 58-second bracket. And Medeki last year drove for the Sonic team. He's moved to Matt Stone Racing this year in the ex-Lee Holdsworth Irwin Ford from last year. And really on the money. So the guys who've been put to the front of the grid for this one using their better tyres. It's no surprise that they're the ones staying at the front.
That's right. And also, you know, it's going to be interesting to see Jack has been around a long time. He's driven these cars a lot. He's got a lot of experience. So he'll just be trying to make sure he doesn't burn these things up. He's going to be looking after them as best he can. He's going to obviously make it hard for Medeki, but he's not going to want to give it away either. So he's going to play it. If he's used his best tyres for this race, he's going to want to hold on to them as best he can to get the best set on that car for the third race from the best grid position. So it'll be a tactical move on his part at this stage.
Steve Owens up to position 20. Look at this. Marcus Ukanovic in the Repco Commodore blocking the line at turn 1 for Aaron Russell. Behind is Jeff Emery. And there's Steve Owen in that yellow Falcon. He's up to 20th from 28th on the grid. Casey Stone has had a drama. He slipped back to 28th. He's last but one.
Well, Steve Owen didn't even make a lap yesterday, obviously, with the damage that he got on that car. So we know he's got good rubber to play with for this event and which, for this race, which will also hopefully give him some good ones, good tyres for the last race today later on.
Nick Mcbride there in the high flex Ford. That's the car run by Tony D'Alberto last year. That team still run that car for Nick Mcbride, but he got...
Yeah.
Oh, hang on a second. I thought Gary Jacobson was going to end up in the grass, but Mcbride got pinged 15 series points for the contact yesterday that put Andre Heimgartner in the sand trap down at turn 1. But Gary Jacobson on board here within the 999 Ford, the Sonic team, Bob Jane T-Mart squad, has Glenn Seaton here, as he did at Adelaide, as a driver advisor, driver coach. Not too many better men than the 2-time V8 champ doing that role. But this is on at the front. Perkins and Medeki, Jones and Morris. Christian Lindbom's done a nice job this weekend again, and Ash Walsh is chipping his way. He's up to position 6. And remember that the race later in the day is the combined points of the first two. So even if Walsh doesn't really work his way up through the order, he'll still be on pole.
Yeah, Lindbom's made a good move here. He's as he comes actually right now, as we say, under pressure from Ash Walsh, who's just slid down the inside of him to take 5th position. I was going to give Christian a big rap there on how he's driving. He's driving really, really good and consistent, but Walsh, he just seems to have a little edge this weekend. I mean, we think he's used the same tyres as he used yesterday in yesterday's race. He's down 2 tyres. As Lindbom outbrakes himself. Walsh also outbraked himself there. He's ended up, that's a big mistake. He tried to put pressure on Walsh, who's now coming under pressure heavily from Daniel Gaunt. But that's a big loss for Christian Lindbom.
Let's have a look again. Walsh was going off the road here. He was in a little too deep.
Well, I think he went deep to try and protect himself.
And Lindbom
tried to go deeper to try and gain something back. Look where Walsh has ended up. He's had to go round the back of the curb. And, yeah, listen, a bit of a mistake there. A junior mistake by Christian. Got dragged into going deep. As we go back inside with Taz Douglas. Currently in 7th spot, putting pressure on Daniel Gaunt. He's gone narrow there, so he had to cover the line. Wood.
That's why.
Was right behind him. He is right behind him. It doesn't get any closer than that. The Wilson Security Falcon under the rear wing of Taz Douglas's Falcon. Listen to the throttle. He was trying to get the car to turn there. Obviously got some push into turn 4, and he was just dabbing the throttle, trying to get the car to come back round on the front end. Very, very careful on the throttle here at Barbagallo Raceway. Oh, Wood gives him a little bit of a helping hand through the apex at turn 6. Clearly got a little bit more speed. He's got a bit better run. We're going to see the Wilson Security car come on here, down the chute, pulling 6th gear. Under brakes, will he? No. Taz Douglas quite deep. He's managed to get to the apex, but Wood's car is turning better. He's got underneath him. He's got an overlap. He should make the pass into turn 1 this time.
And Ash Walsh, he might be hurting for tyres for the rest of the weekend, but he's just set the fastest lap of the race. 58.84 as Wood picks up that spot on Taz Douglas. Behind is Drew Russell, then Chris Pither, who has just put a move on Morgan Haber. This is Gary Jacobson moving across on Nick McBride. Careful. That was a little tight. They got away with it, though. They're fighting for positions 12 and 13, but it's Jack Perkins who leads the way. We're on lap 9, half race distance in race 2, round 2 of the Dunlop Series in Perth. Back at Barbagallo, and this is Josh Hunter, the 17-year-old rookie, not afraid to run the Finance Easy Ford up and over the curbs. Great shot on our super slow-mo. This race has really been on. That Advan Commodore's just sneaking its way up on the back of George Badicki, which makes George think, gee, I want to clear Jack, because then I've got to deal with Andrew.
Yeah, and it takes a little while too around here. You get all that sand on your tyres, and you give them a little bit of punishing. It takes a little while for them to come back. So Jack would have had to driven that next lap very, very straight to try and give those tyres a bit of a break, clean them up, and get them back on the go again.
Daniel Gaughan here defending from Dale Wood. They're fighting for positions 6 and 7. Steve Owen in the background is still getting on. He's got Chris Pither, so he's up to 11th. Not bad from P28.
And next on the list will be Jacobson for Owen. I mean, the experience that he's got, he knows how to drive these cars to look after the tyres. Some of the guys that haven't been in the game so long, without that experience, they're going to be learning fast. But as we said before, Owen's probably got an advantage here with the black ground rubber that he's got on the car, not having competed in that race yesterday.
And it's a good bit of kit, Murph. It's the ex-Ford Performance Racing Mark Winterbottom car from last year. Jacobson driving an ex-Triple 8 Ford, but that right front fright. Talking to team boss Mick Ritter yesterday, and they've got some updated rear end parts in their cars, but of course they're still not quite at the level of what Steve Owen's driving, which was a car that was winning main game races last year.
And the information that they got with that car is he just blazes past. Jacobson very smartly let him go there. He didn't give up too much of a fight. He's realised that I'm in a bit of strife here. The more I fight with Steve Owen, the worse it's going to get for me. So I'll let him go. Know he's on better rubber and try and calm it down. Lindbaum coming back too after that off. He's showing very good speed in that FPR Falcon too. They seem to be the class of the field here at the moment.
In fact, there's plenty of them. There's 5 FPR built cars in this field, but that's nothing. There's 10 888 built cars. They've got a third of the field, but there's proven that because they're good gear. That's why everyone wants to get their hands on them.
They are absolute quality cars. Perkins, a little bit quicker than Badicki in the first sector on that one. He's still managing to hold on and drive that car very, very straight. It's a challenge out there. It's so easy to spin up a tyre and lose performance. As Walsh there, he's just consolidating on that position in 5th. He's not going to go any further forward unless something else happens to someone, so he's just holding on to that spot.
Something I wanted to throw at you, Murph. For Townsville, for the Dunlop Series, they're going to have a soft tyre race there. The 3rd race there will be a soft tyre. We've not used the soft tyre in the Dunlop Series before. Michael Hector just dropping off the road. I think that's a good thing. Young drivers here trying to make their way to the main game, they need experience on all the types of tyres that they're going to have to deal with when they progress up the ladder.
Yeah, and the thing about that is they're not going to get a chance to try them before that race. So they get one set of soft tyres at Townsville where they have to run them and they're going to go out there on a brand new set, and they've got to give it a run and find out what the soft tyre's like for the first time. George Madecki using that curb again. He loves it.
That's bigger than last time.
He loves it. And look at that, how good and how well poised that car is over that curb. Jack Perkins just pulled out a little bit of a lead here. We can see he's got a little bit. And Paul Morris coming at Andrew Jones very, very late. Jones uses the curb on the inside. Not the ideal way to go around that corner. And Paul Morris definitely on a bit of a charge here very late on this race with 1 lap to go, I think. He's going to put the pressure on. Jack Perkins has set a little bit more of a gap, a little bit of breathing space that he didn't have before. He's looking quite comfortable now. As Madecki continues to use the curb through turn 3. These guys have driven very, very calm. Oh, no, Lindbaum off again.
Out wide through the sand. He's got to just keep the boot nailed and make it. He will get out. He will get out, but it's the second time that he's been off the road in that Ozstar Ford, and that's pretty much undone his weekend. But because it's a half-points race, he's still got a good bank from race 1. So although he's dropped back to position 22, he'll still not be too bad for the grid for race 3. But Morris closing in on Jones, but Perkins looks like he's done enough.
Yeah, Morris, bit of a reputation in the development series.
Hasn't touched anyone this weekend,
Hasn't touched anyone. He's been clean as clean. Maybe he's trying to change his reputation. A new Paul Morris, I doubt that very much. But no, he just loves being in this category, keeping the miles up. And the Sergeant Security car looking pretty good here.
But so too is this man. Jack Perkins won the last Dunlop Series race that he did back at the season finale at Sydney Olympic Park in 2011. It's the first time he's been in the series since then, and he's gapped Madecki in these last couple of laps. He's on his way home with 2 corners left to go, and for Eggleston Motorsport, they had a win with Cam McConville running one of their cars at Winton a couple of years ago. They've bought 2 ex-Techno 888 designed cars. They run an operation out of Melbourne, out of Garth Tanner's old workshop, and this is going to be a really good result. It's a reverse grid race, but it's still a race win. Jack Perkins is at the final turn. It's a welcome back to the Dunlop Series for Jack Perkins. He picks up the race win. Madecki home in second. Jones third from Morris. But that is great. There is the team from Eggleston Motorsport. That's Ben Eggleston there with Martin Wagg and his daughter Rachel. They've got Dan Crone Engineering there on to the left, former SBR and FPR engineer, and that's a great job from them. Daniel Gaunt is home in 6th. How about Steve Owen? He got to 10.
Not really overly surprised. Here's Casey Stoner. He's had a bit of a tough run. Hasn't made any ground in this race. He'll come across the line to take 21st position in the Red Bull Pertec Commodore.
But for Jack Perkins, great confidence builder. We'll bring you all the action from the 3rd race this afternoon. Who else has impressed you here? Dale Wood, 2nd in the points in the series. He's doing a solid job.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the same situation. He drove smart in that race, gained the points he needed to get. Jacobson, that's impressive, holding 11th position there. Mcbride, who had that penalty, 13th. Jeff Emery up to 16th. The one that has suffered the most out of that is Christian Lindbaum. There he is in 22nd, twice off the road.
But it's Jack Perkins who wins race 2.
Well, Jack, welcome back with a win.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I must say last night's the first time I've ever been happy to have a reverse grid because we were, up that end of the field. But good to start off the front row, made a good start, and we just looked after the car, and, it wasn't easy out there. I feel like a veteran in this game, and there's young blokes knocking on my door, but I'm only 26, so it's good to get a win for sure.
And bring on the next race, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Just having a bit of fun, I haven't driven a car since Bathurst last year. I was a bit rusty on Friday, but thanks to the team behind me giving me a good car, and see if we can do what we do in the next one.
More Dunlop Series action after the break.